Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am here to defend my client. John Walker is not the monster you claim him to be.
I wish I was the monster you think I am.
Over the course of this video, I will explain why not only do I think he's a hero, but why I think he deserves to be an Avenger, not a thunderbolt or whatever they're called. I know what clip comes straight to your head. That is hard to defend, I will be honest, but I want to come back to that. First, I want to do a little role play. Not like that, get your mind out of the gutter. What I want you to do is pretend you don't know who this video is about. Let's talk about a random John. John grew up idealizing Captain America, like all children do. Steve Rogers was a man who stood up for his principles and saved the world, a true symbol of what it meant to be a hero. And when John grew up, he decided to mimic this model. He may just be a man in a world of super soldiers, super suits, aliens, and green monsters, but god damn it, he still wants to make a difference. So he enlists in the army. He then proceeds to accomplish the impossible. He gets 3 medals of valor. For those who don't know, a medal of valor in America is when you go above and beyond the service of duty. It usually comes when you save a lot of lives or put yourself in harm's way. It's a reward so high that most people get it posthumously. Only 19 people in real life have ever gotten 2. John has 3. Not only that, John is loved and respected by his soldiers and the people around him. He may not be an Avenger, but he is a hero to those who know him. Then the unthinkable happens. Captain America is done, dead as far as the world is concerned. His mantle now needs to be passed on. And who's chosen? His closest friend, a hero in his own right, an Avenger, who then decides to turn it down. Fuck Rogers' wishes. I've got wings, bitches. It's at this point that the US government has to search for someone who they consider would be the best replacement. And who could it possibly be but John? Their most decorated soldier, a man who is the closest thing to being a superhuman without having powers. He performed off the charts, physically, mentally, and he's proven himself time and time again to be a man of bravery. John accepts, but he has his doubts. He understands the gravitas of the role, what it means to become the symbol that he grew up looking up to. He talks to his loved ones about it, who all tell him he has to do it. His best friend who's in the trenches with him, his loving wife, they all tell him he's earned it and they can think of no one better. And who would question it at this point, given his history? John goes in front of all of America for an interview. And what does he talk about? Himself? His accomplishments? How many bitches he can now get with his new fit? Girls love a uniform? No. With humility, he talks about the symbol rather than himself.
It's the greatest honor of my life. But I'm just a little shocked, I think. How did a guy like me end up here?
Importance of the legacy and a promise that he will do what he can to live up to this impossible role model.
His career very closely as an Avenger, and I like to think that I model my work after it. I liked that what I was doing would make people feel safe.
You might be like, it's very unheroic of him doing that interview, having clout, right? Because no Captain America would ever make a performance to improve the morale of the people. It's never happened. But the interview is done, and John decides to step up. He has to keep his promise, and the best way of doing this is to go to the 2 best friends that Steve Rogers ever had, hoping to work with them, learn from them, rise up to this challenge. And what do? They tell him to fuck off. Why? Because he never jumped on a grenade. I mean, as a decorated soldier, he's probably risked his life more times than he can count. So this is confusing to him. He assures them that he's not trying to replace their friend. He's just trying to do the best that he can do. Also, you decided not to be Captain America. I didn't steal it from you. How's this my fault? Y'all just a bunch of mean girls. But he keeps trying. As the government sends John after a bunch of super soldier terrorists who decide to start blowing up hospitals and churches, he joins the fight. No powers, no technology, just bravery in these motherfucking hands.
I don't have the flashiest gadgets, I don't have super strength. But what I do have is guts.
Risking his life once again on some bullshit high-speed chase. John puts up a fight, but in the end he's only a man, so he kind of gets his ass whooped. But then opportunity comes knocking at his door. He hears that the guys he's been trying to reach out to have been arrested for warrant evasion. And John is like, perfect. I now have the opportunity to show them I'm a good guy. The perfect opportunity to extend an olive branch. He uses his connections to get them out, helps them get released, and even waits to give them a ride. At which point they tell him to fuck off again. These motherfucking haters. Finally he understands. No matter what, they won't be on his side. So what can he do? He tells them to back down. They're technically vigilantes, and while he wanted to work with them, if they don't want to work with him, then they're not in their legal rights. He could have them rearrested, but he's a nice guy, he doesn't want to do that to them. So John goes home, annoyed, but he's thinking to himself, they must be worried about who they work with. It's understandable. They were on the run for so long. Bucky's been betrayed and manipulated. They have to be so selective about who they trust. And maybe someday I can earn that trust. Oh, I wonder what's on the TV. Ah, they seem to have broken out the terrorist who caused an international incident. He killed the king of the most powerful nation, all in order to help Bucky die. This is their new dream team. Are you fucking serious? At this point, it's not even personal. John has to go get him back into prison. He's literally a fugitive. So John goes to get him. At which point a bunch of bold twats rock in. John kindly reminds them that what they're doing is illegal, and she claps back with, do I look like I give a fuck?
The Dora Milaje don't have jurisdiction here.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
Let me ask you a question. If the CIA had done this and not some plaided bad boldies from Wakanda, would this be acceptable? No, but he's still trying to keep his cool. There's no need for an international incident. So John is still trying to calm the situation down.
Look, I think we got off on the wrong foot.
And they respond by literally trying to kill him. They aim a spear at his head like 3 times. Aim to kill. And what are the heroes doing at this time? They're heckling him like he's a stand-up.
Looking strong, John.
The disrespect is actually disgusting. They're not even doing their job. They're not watching the prisoner. He finishes his whiskey and waddles off, beaten and broken. John is starting to feel the pressure from all sides. No one is respecting him. No one's respecting the rules. Everyone's being an asshole. And then the silver lining. He hears that the heroes have found the terrorists, and he's like, awesome. Let's go arrest these dastardly villains. And Falcon's like, no, I think I want to have a chat with them. Bitch, what do you mean? They could snap you like a twig and then use you for dental floss before going on a rampage across the whole city. Have you not seen Arrow Season 2? Also, where was this loving and accepting energy when I wanted some respect and peace? But you know, Falcon does what he wants because fuck everyone else, I guess. And John is pulled into another fight. But this time he gets his hand on the serum. He can balance out the playing field. He's not sure if he should take it. Again, it's not just the symbol, it's the power and the responsibility that's weighing down on him. And what finally convinces him to take it? Not a lust for power or a promise of revenge. But his friend points out that he can save more people. His motivation is nothing but heroic. He's then pulled into another fight with these goddamn terrorists. But this time, it's not John who's in danger. It's his best friend, his confidant, a brother in arms who has saved more lives than John can remember, including his own. And Lima is brutalized in front of him, dead, becomes a stain on the wall. John goes crazy, understandably, tracking down the terrorist. And this brings us to the iconic scene where it all went wrong. Is beating someone to death with a shield right? Of course not. But I am curious, what does it mean to be a hero in the rules established by the MCU? If murder doesn't make you a hero, then who is? Alexa, play Marvel murder montage. Punisher makes John look like a saint. Tony's just having fun with it. Or is it only okay when the terrorists look like stereotypes? Middle Easterns, yeah, but you can't kill the white gingers. Kinda looking a bit racist if you ask me. At least John was somewhat in danger. These guys were no threat to Iron Man, and he killed so many of them. And you might be like, well, that's them. Captain America's the holiest of heroes. It's a higher bar. And you know what I'm gonna say next, right? Alexa, show Captain America murder montage. Stevie boy ain't no better. And finally, you might be like, okay, but they were killing Nazis to save the world. John was killing for revenge. And to that I say, are we really going to pretend that Iron Man wasn't trying to turn Bucky into the headless huntsman purely out of revenge for his parents?
This isn't gonna change what happened.
I don't care. He killed my mom.
Whatever metric you choose, John is no worse than the Avengers. If you want to call him a villain for that, fine. But you can't cheer on the Avengers while prosecuting him. They're either all heroes or none of them are. But then after the murder, what does John do? He decides he needs to get away. He can't have all these eyes on him. He's filled with adrenaline, pain, anger, and God knows what else given the super serum. He needs space and time to think. Does he get it? Well, that's a great question. Here's a shot from the show, and you tell me who came here for a fight. They are literally squaring up to him before they throw the first blow.
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, we do.
How could they possibly desperately need the shield in that moment? Falcon literally used to be a vet sponsor. You think he'd handle the situation with a little bit more grace. John isn't on a rampage killing everyone in sight. If they hadn't attacked him, he wouldn't have done anything else. The fucking audacity of Bucky of all people to judge him. Winter Soldier brainwashing aside, Bucky's kill count is still higher than John's. And Falcon, again I ask, where is the same sympathy you had for the Ginger Bomber earlier? John now needs that. John doesn't want to fight, he's literally fighting them as he's asking them to stop.
Why are you making me do this?
He doesn't want to do this, but what's he gonna do? Just stand there and take a beating and not fight back? They break his fucking arm and leave him there. These two heroes literally saw a grieving vet and decided that the best course of action is to mug him. And then the downward spiral just continues. John goes home and faces a trial from the same people who promoted him. The people who sent him after the terrorists. They sent a man after killers and then fired him for killing them in combat. That's so un-American. They make him a scapegoat for their own decision making. Not only do they fire him, they strip him of everything. His titles, his respect, his ability to provide for his family. John is broken and defeated. This is the worst moment of his life, and what does he do? He goes to face the family of the son who died. This took as much bravery as anything else he's done. They could have hated on him and spat on him, but they embraced him, understanding that the situation is not his fault, even though he feels like it is.
I'm sorry. I'm always here for you.
In his darkest hour, he thought of someone else. When was the last time we saw any of the Avengers doing the same, willing to face the people they failed? And then he decides he doesn't want this to be his legacy as a hero. He will rise again. I mean, all the other Avengers don't listen to authority. Why should he? He decides to once again confront the terrorists who are murdering people left and right at this point. And when given a choice between revenge and saving lives, he makes the hero's choice. He saves the people over his own selfish desires, once again proving he is a hero at heart. It's at this point that he's put on a team with a bunch of Russian killers and treated like he is one of the villains. I really hope that thunderbolts actually give him some props, because honestly, up until now, there's been no respect on his name. You tell me, in what part of this story was John the mustache-twirling villain and not a man making the best of an impossible situation? I'm gonna say something unpopular. He is the only choice to succeed Captain America. Not Falcon, not Winter Soldier. He may not be Steve Rogers, but right now he's the closest thing we've got. And I stand by that. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe. John Walker is just one of the videos in my Defending the Villain series. Let me know if there's any specific characters you'd like me to include. And until then, have a good one, guys.